The neon signs of Neo-Shanghai flickered through the rain-soaked windows of Louis Chen's cramped apartment. He sat hunched over his desk, mechanical fingers tapping rhythmically against the metal surface, a nervous habit he developed since the war. The prosthetic arm gleamed under the dim light, a constant reminder of the battle that had cost him flesh but given him purpose. Louis was a veteran of the Sino-European conflict, a war fought not with bullets alone but with quantum weapons and neural hackers. He'd lost his arm saving his unit from a collapsing building in Berlin. Now, at 28, he worked as a security consultant for the city's elite, using his military training to protect those who could afford it. Tonight was supposed to be simple, escort duty for a corporate executive's daughter through the lower districts. Easy money. He checked his plasma pistol one last time before heading out into the perpetual twilight of the megacity. Anna Zhao wasn't human, not entirely anyway. She was a chimera, one of the genetically enhanced beings created during the desperate final years of the war. Her father, Dr. Marcus Zhao, had been the lead geneticist on Project Synthesis, combining human DNA with various animal traits to create soldiers who could survive in any environment. Anna was his greatest achievement and his deepest regret. She possessed the keen senses of a wolf, the agility of a cat, and one distinctive feature that made her instantly recognizable: a long, silver-furred tail that moved with a life of its own, betraying every emotion she tried to hide. At 24, Anna had spent her entire life confined to her father's compound. Dr. Zhao had become paranoid after the war, convinced that rival corporations or governments would kidnap her to replicate his work. But Anna had grown tired of being a beautiful bird in a gilded cage. Tonight, she decided to fly. She disabled the security systems, child's play for someone with her enhanced neural processing, and slipped into the crowded streets of Neo-Shanghai's entertainment district. The sensory overload was immediate and intoxicating. Holographic advertisements danced in the air, street vendors shouted in a dozen languages, and the smell of synthetic noodles mixed with ozone from the overhead maglev trains. Anna's tail swished with excitement as she explored, her hood pulled low to hide her distinctive silver hair. For the first time in her life, she felt free. Louis received the emergency call at 22:47. "Mr. Chen, this is Dr. Zhao. My daughter is missing. I need you to find her immediately." The old scientist's voice trembled with barely controlled panic. She's not like other people. She'll stand out. Please, you have to find her before someone else does." Louis knew of Dr. Zhao. Everyone did. The man was a legend in genetic engineering circles, though he'd become a recluse after the war. But he'd never mentioned having a daughter. "I'll need a description, recent photos, known associates." "She has no associates. She's never left the compound before." Dr. Zhao's voice cracked. "She has silver hair and a tail, a wolf's tail. Please, Mr. Chen, she's all I have left." Louis felt his prosthetic fingers clench involuntarily. A chimera. He'd fought alongside some during the war, brave soldiers who'd been treated as disposable weapons. After the armistice, most had been retired in ways that didn't bear thinking about. The ones who survived lived in the shadows, neither fully human nor fully accepted. "I'll find her," Louis promised. "Send me everything you have." The tracking was easier than expected. Anna's naivete worked against her. She'd used her personal credit chip to buy street food, creating a digital trail that Louis followed through the city's surveillance network. The path led to the Void, a notorious underground club where the city's outcasts gathered: hackers, black market dealers, and those too modified to fit into polite society. Louis pushed through the crowd, his enhanced eyes scanning for silver hair and there. In the corner, surrounded by three men who'd clearly realized what she was. Chimera parts fetched high prices on the black market. Her tail was visible, pressed flat against her back in fear. "Hey, pretty kitty," one of the men leered, reaching for her tail. "That's going to make someone very rich." Anna's eyes flashed gold, a sign her combat instincts were kicking in. Lewis had seen that look before. If she fought back here, people would die and she'd be branded a monster. He had seconds to act. He crossed the distance in 3 strides, his prosthetic arm shooting out to grab her tail just as she tensed to spring. The touch was gentle but firm, and something unexpected happened. Anna froze completely, her enhanced physiology responding to the specific neural pressure points in her tail. It was a fail-safe Dr. Zhao had installed, a way to calm her if her predator instincts ever took over. "Easy," Lewis murmured, pulling her against his chest and away from the men. "I've got you." "Hey, we found her first," one of the thugs started. Lewis's plasma pistol materialized in his free hand, pressed against the man's throat. "Walk away, now." They did. Anna's heart raced against Lewis's chest as he guided her outside, his hand still gently holding her tail. She should have been furious. She'd escaped one prison only to be captured again. But there was something different about this touch. It wasn't possessive or cruel. It was protective. "Let me guess," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "My father sent you." "Dr. Zhao is worried sick." Lewis finally released her tail, stepping back to give her space. "You could have been killed, or worse." "Worse than spending my entire life locked away." Anna's eyes flashed again. "I'm not a child. I'm not some fragile experiment that needs to be hidden." "No," Lewis agreed quietly. "You're a chimera who's never been in the real world before. Do you know what they would have done if I hadn't shown up? They would have sedated you, cut you apart, and sold your enhanced organs to the highest bidder." Anna's tail drooped. "I just wanted, one night to feel normal." Lewis saw himself reflected in her golden eyes, another weapon the world had used and discarded. "Come on, let me take you home, then we can talk about doing this the right way." The journey back was quiet. Anna sat in the passenger seat of Lewis's aircar, watching the city lights blur past. Occasionally, she'd glance at him, studying the hard lines of his face, the way his mechanical fingers drummed against the steering column. "You were military," she said finally. "I can tell. Sino-European conflict, lost the arm in Berlin. I was created for that war. Did you know that?" Her voice was bitter. "My father made me to be the perfect soldier. Then the war ended, and suddenly his greatest achievement was his greatest shame." Lewis was silent for a moment. "I fought alongside chimeras, bravest soldiers I ever met. They saved my life more than once." "Where are they now?" He didn't answer. He didn't need to. They both knew. Dr. Zhao was waiting at the compound gates, his aged face haggard with worry. The moment the aircar landed, he rushed forward, pulling Anna into a fierce embrace. "Never again," he whispered. "Never scare me like that again." "Father, I can't live like this." "We'll discuss it inside." Dr. Zhao's eyes were red-rimmed but stern. Then he turned to Lewis, and something strange happened. The old scientist's expression shifted from relief to calculation, studying Lewis with an intensity that made the veteran uncomfortable. "Mr. Chen, please come inside. There's something we need to discuss." The compound's interior was sterile and sophisticated, more laboratory than home. Dr. Zhao led them to a sitting room, poured 3 glasses of rice wine, and sat down with the air of a man about to make a pronouncement. "Mr. Chen, you saved my daughter's life tonight. You also demonstrated something I thought impossible." Lewis frowned. "Sir." "You touched her tail and she didn't attack. In fact, her physiological readings, which I monitor constantly, showed a complete absence of stress response. That's never happened before with anyone except me." Anna's face flushed silver. "Father, that's not." In chimera biology, particularly those with wolf genetics, the tail is intensely sensitive. It's connected directly to the limbic system. When Anna allows someone to touch it without resistance, it indicates a deep biological trust. Dr. Zhao leaned forward. Mr. Chen, in the old traditions that guided some of my genetic coding, such an act is considered a bonding behavior. Louis felt his prosthetic fingers freeze mid-tap. Dr. Zhao, I was just trying to keep her from hurting someone. I know what you were trying to do, and I know my daughter. The old scientist's eyes gleamed with something between hope and desperation. Mr. Chen, Anna needs protection. Not just physical security, but someone who understands what she is, who won't see her as a monster or a prize. Someone she trusts instinctively. Father, no. Anna's tail lashed in agitation. Anna needs a husband, Mr. Chen, and after tonight I believe you're the only candidate. Dr. Zhao stood, raising his glass. Congratulations, you're the groom. The silence that followed was deafening. Louis opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Dr. Zhao, with all due respect, I met your daughter 3 hours ago. I'm a security consultant, not. You're a veteran who understands what it means to be used as a weapon and then discarded. You have honor, or you wouldn't have protected Anna from those men when you could have simply contacted me. And most importantly, she trusted you enough to let you touch her tail. Dr. Zhao's voice softened. I'm dying, Mr. Chen. Genetic degradation from my own experiments. I have perhaps 6 months. I need to know Anna will be safe when I'm gone. Anna stood abruptly, her tail rigid. I'm right here, Father. I can hear you planning my life like I'm one of your experiments. Anna. No, she turned to Louis, her golden eyes fierce and vulnerable all at once. I'm sorry you got dragged into this. You can leave. I release you from any perceived obligation. Louis should have left, should have walked out and never looked back. But he found himself studying Anna, really looking at her. She wasn't just a beautiful woman with unusual features. She was a person trapped between worlds, neither fully human nor fully accepted as what she'd become. He knew that feeling intimately. I have a counter-proposal, Louis heard himself say. Both Zhaos turned to stare at him. Give us 6 months. Let Anna explore the world, but with me as her guide and protection. No commitment, no obligations. If at the end of 6 months we decide this arrangement works, we'll discuss marriage. If not, I'll help you find another solution. He met Anna's eyes. But she gets a choice. That's non-negotiable. Dr. Zhao considered this, then slowly nodded. Acceptable. Anna, Louis asked, what do you think? Her tail had stopped lashing. It swayed gently now, thoughtfully. You'd really do this? Spend 6 months babysitting a naive chimera who doesn't know how to function in the real world? I'd spend 6 months helping a person find her place in it, Louis corrected. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. For the first time that night, Anna smiled, a real smile that made her golden eyes light up. Then I accept your counter-proposal, Mr. Chen. Louis, if we're doing this, you should probably call me Louis. Louis. She tested the name, her tail swishing with something that might have been approval. I'm Anna, not my daughter or the chimera or any of Father's other titles, just Anna. Just Anna, Louis agreed, and found himself smiling back. Dr. Zhao watched the exchange with satisfaction, raising his glass once more. To new beginnings, then, and to the strangest engagement in human and chimera history. As Louis left the compound that night, he wondered what exactly he'd gotten himself into. 6 months of protecting and guiding someone who was equal parts predator and innocent. It was insane. But then again, he'd survived a war fought with quantum weapons and neural hackers. How much stranger could this be? Behind him, Anna stood at her window, her tail wrapped thoughtfully around her waist, watching his aircar disappear into the neon-soaked night. For the first time in her life, she felt something beyond the compound walls calling to her. And for the first time, she had someone who might help her answer that call. The city of Neo-Shanghai hummed on, indifferent to the unusual arrangement made in its shadows. But in the weeks and months to come, it would witness something remarkable, a veteran learning to trust again, and a chimera discovering what it meant to be truly free. And maybe, just maybe, both of them finding something neither had expected, a future worth fighting for.